Hello, guys. This is Rishabh Dev, and welcome to the course. This is a course on being productive while working remotely or while working from home. And in the first lesson, I'm just going to take you guys through an introduction about the course. But this is really important because we're going to discuss a few things to remember, which will help you build the right mindset to get into remote work and be productive at the same time. So I have been working remotely for a few years now, and I don't even remember the time that I was working in an office. This is because I'm a digital nomad. I travel the world and work from different countries. I've traveled across 25 countries and counting. And I work wherever I am. I don't need a special place or a special workstation or a special office even a co-working space. You might know a lot of digital nomads who like to work in co-working spaces. I don't need any of that. I can work anywhere. Literally, I've worked in railway stations and fish markets, and I've been at my highest levels of productivity in different places. Also, because I think the brain wiring works in a way that a new place should actually push you to work better rather than you experiencing a lack of productivity outside of office. So, we're going to talk about a few things quickly in this introduction. So, first, let's look at who this course is for. It's going to be a simple format, it's going to be short lessons, it's going to be very actionable. We need to get into the introduction first so that we have the right base and both of us are on the same page. So you could be someone who just works from home as a regular employee. That's the first category. So you might be an employee of a company, you might have a regular job, but they just have given you a role which you can work from home and they've given you the permission to work from home. Now, this could be because of a situation that you cannot go to office for some reason, or it could be just that there is no office in the place where you're working because you might be an employee outside of the city that the main company has been located. You could also be an offshore team member. So the headquarters of the company could be in some country and you could be working from another country. That's possible. You could be a startup employee. So a lot of startups have people they hire from different cities and different countries. And all of you could be coordinating online and working from your respective homes. And then the second category you see is remote work. So I've made a slight distinction between working from home and remote work. So a remote worker would be someone like me, for instance, who's working from anywhere, and in some cases it might not be even worth calling home. So if I have long train journeys, for instance, over 48 hours or something like that, I still need to get work done, but I'm not in a home. So and it's the same hacks and the same tricks and the same tips and methods and strategies and mindsets that I'm going to teach you in this course also apply for remote workers as they apply equally well for working from home. They both require a slightly different mindset. So, remote workers require a slightly different mindset than people working from home. Like, people working from home can use association hacks, like making your brain think and enter the productivity mode quickly when you're in the same space, which might not be possible for someone who's traveling all the time or an entrepreneur who's built a remote working lifestyle just so that they can travel. So the application will be slightly different, but the hacks would still apply to both these categories. There's also a category where you are the boss, you own the business, and you have much more rights and authority to manage your calendar and all those kinds of things. So, we're going to assume in this course that you have some level of independence and rights to do this, but not entirely. You cannot just decide your own calendar. You still have some work getting assigned by other people, you still have team members that you've got to coordinate with. Even as an individual contributor, if you are one, you still have to work with other people. So, a few things to remember. So, we're going to cover all those bases. A few things to remember before we start is number one, you already have a higher potential for productivity just by being at home, just by just by being outside of an office. And there are clear studies about this, and I have personal data myself of working in an office, managing a team of 20 to 30 people in a full time office, in a company, managing this entire company, and managing the same business, the same company outside of the office. making everyone work remotely. I did this experiment with my entire team, and that eventually actually led me to traveling full time, reducing my team size. I 80/20 the entire business, and there's more about that as well. But there's a lot of studies that people in an office are working only for a few hours, if not for a few minutes, and apart from that, it's distraction time and a lot of other things happening around. So you might be able to think the same way for working from home. If you're new to this, you might be thinking there's more distraction at home, but you're wrong. So that it's you are wrong. That it's not possible to have more distractions at home than office, irrespective of the number of children that you might have. So I'm going to explain that also, and how the brain works and how you get back from distractions. So you are saving one on travel time, which we should not talk about averages of what the average travel time of an office going employee is, because these averages are very misleading. Sometimes you might have your office at walking distance, and sometimes it might be you might be living on the countryside with your office in the city, but it's dependent on you. So let's not talk about the averages, but whatever travel time it would have taken you to go to office, first of all, you're saving on that. Second, which I think creeps in a lot for office goers, is social pressure breaks, and this might include a smoking break. It might also be a coffee or tea break, just because someone else is going for a coffee or tea, and it also sort of messes with your willpower, because you don't really need this coffee or tea at this point of time, just because you have to go, and this person probably has a habit of going at the same time. Your brain develops this new habit of going for that break at the same time almost every day. It takes a few minutes for the brain to come back on the task once you're back from the break. And if you have five of these breaks and a few minutes each time, you almost lose an hour in just social pressure breaks. Eliminating distractions. Of course, there are a lot of distractions because there are a lot of people in an office. There are also a lot of distractions because anyone can ask you to do anything at any given point of time. You have an option of delaying checking what they are saying, because now they can only tell you something on the phone or on your connected devices, whatever devices you have connected. So I use the word connected devices because this device can also be a disconnected device if you want. And the beautiful option of flight mode is something that we don't use a lot except in flights, but that just makes this a disconnected device. And that's a hack we're going to use a lot for our work. So your productivity now depends only on you and not on everyone else. Also remember that you don't have to go into this process and install a lot of tools and install a lot of apps, because that's what usually remote work workshops and remote work courses are all about. What are the apps that you should use? I'm going to tell you a few apps, but that's exactly the point. You don't need more apps, because more apps and more um, softwares and more extensions is what is actually causing the issue in the first place. That's the problem. That's the distraction. So you want to limit those things rather than increase the number of apps. So you don't want to install all the apps that your friends are telling you right now. Don't install Zoom. You can use it from the browser, for instance. You can avoid Skype if you have Zoom. Don't install both. Don't install Slack. You can use it from the browser again. Don't install, because the first thing is it's a shiny new thing. If you're moving to remote work, and then it's a shiny new thing for you, and you want to get all the apps to make it. You want to get 3 project management apps all based on the same Kanban system. But if it's based on the same Japanese old philosophy, then why don't just use one? Because the philosophy is what works, not the software itself. So for instance, Trello and Asana. So you could just get Trello, that's enough. So you don't need to install a lot of apps. Now your productivity depends only on you and what you're doing, and not on everyone else, because everyone else doesn't have direct access to you. And we've forgotten that direct access means face to face access. So let's bring that concept back. Let's go back in time a little bit. I'm a digital nomad. I run a digital business. I'm into digital marketing. But I'm still requesting you to not go into the app world and take a step back and think about, now they don't have direct access, and I can always make this and all my devices disconnected whenever I want. So I do have some space for more deep work, which is an important term that we're going to discuss in this course. So if you're new to remote work, you still have the same time in the day as earlier. A lot of people forget about this, that you can only be productive with your time, right? That's the only thing. That's the only time is money, time is the currency that we're talking about here. You give your time and you get paid. Okay, so you still have the same time in the day as you had before. It's just the environment around you that has changed, and it's changed for the better, I would say. So, with that positive note and with those things to remember, we will move on to the next lesson. For now, just think about this. Think about these points so that you are ready to build the mindset. And I'll see you in lesson 2. Thank you.